everyone. It's Little Flower 2K, sharing the gospel of the digital age. I just came across the picture and I want to share it with you. Woohoo! It's Pope Francis. Pope Francis, ever since he became Pope, right? He has been doing everything and remembering the poor. Even from the selection of his name, Francis, from St. Francis of Assisi. I don't know if you got to watch World Youth Day recently passed, and 3 million people showed up for Sunday Mass. How awesome is that? I think that was the biggest recorded mass ever in the history of the church. 3 million in attendance. That was really awesome. Pope Francis, when he went to World Youth Day, he did so many beautiful things as he's been doing ever since he's become Pope in his papacy. Went to a hospital. He inaugurated a hospital, St. Francis of Assisi Hospital, the psychiatric ward for drug and alcohol abuse people. He also visited one of the poorest slums in Brazil, and he visited the poor out there. He visited, of course, with all the youth, and he partook in so many beautiful things. He just made an encyclical that is called Lumen Fidei. In the Light of Faith, which is a beautiful, beautiful document talking about our faith and what we should do. There's so many things that Pope Francis has said. It's so funny because he says, Pope Francis urges Christians not to be museum pieces. In other words, we're not supposed to just go to Mass just to sit there and not do anything. With our lives, we're supposed to be proclaiming the gospel to all. Also, he says that if we annoy people, blessed be the Lord. I love that. Because a lot of times it's not that people don't want to know about religion or want to know about God. It's just that the sin that abides in every person eats away at our conscience. So when we see someone that represents God or goes to church, it's a reminder of our conscience. And we tend to push away that religious person just because of the sin in our lives. And it's part of our human nature. Sin basically is a rejection of God. That's what it comes down to. So when we are in sin, we cannot praise God or be with Him the way we are meant to be, because that is a separation from us and God. So anyway, Pope Francis does so many beautiful things. Also for the pro-life marchers, he gives a lot of hope. He tells everybody that's into pro-life, which is a big issue on pro-life for Catholics especially, to stay focused on human life. Those are awesome words. God's living water satisfies the deepest desires, he reflects. God's living water satisfies and quenches our deepest thirst. We are all thirsty for God. We are all dying for happiness, for someone to love us, for someone to be our Prince Charming, for someone to be the love of our lives. And sometimes we have such a hunger for God that we don't realize it. Like he said the other days, gossip is like slapping Jesus in the face. And gossiping is something that, it's everybody does it to a certain degree, and we should avoid it totally. He also says that the works of mercy caress and bind Christ's wounds. He had said on World Youth Day in one of his homilies that when we take care of someone that's suffering, or in a hospital, somebody that's in a bed that is in pain and suffering, we're really taking care of the suffering Christ and his wounds. I think that was so beautiful. He also said that God acts in our lives on his timetable, not ours, he stresses. And I love that because it's so true. sometimes we ask God for a petition and we say, God, please give me this. And He already heard us and He will answer us, but on His time, not ours. A lot of times we need to trust Him and pray with confidence, and at the same time resign ourselves to God's will. He might say yes and He might say no, but the fact that He might say no doesn't mean that He didn't answer it. It's just that He wants the best for us. So sometimes it's kind of difficult if maybe what we're asking for is not the right thing for us. Also said, take courage in your weakness. I love that. That reminds me of the words of St. Paul. Why is it that when we are weak, we are close to God? Because when we are weak, He is present. St. Therese, the little flower, used to always say, when I am the weakest, that I'm so close to God. All I have to do is lift up my arms and He picks me up. Pope Francis also said, prayer is negotiating with the Lord. That's a good one, because also if you think about it, it's so true, right? We need God. God doesn't need us. We don't go to God because He needs us. We need Him. So a lot of times when we need a favor from God or we have a petition, it's like negotiating with the Lord. So it's always good to go to Him sincerely with a clean heart and just say to Him, Lord, I need You, and that is enough. Isn't that wonderful? And my favorite, prepare your hearts for the heavenly homeland. That is so awesome, because we do have a reward waiting for us, which is paradise. And that's me. So anyway, have a great one. God bless. See you soon.